Well, Kevin, I want to welcome you to my shop. I appreciate you letting me work on this Rocket Miata. This thing is insanely fast. I've done a bunch of work on it in the past, helping get it all together. And with your busy schedule, with doing the garbage Camaro on your paintucation channel, and all the AMD stuff you do, I don't know how you do all that you do. So I'm hoping to lighten the load a little bit and help you out with a few little Mickey Mouse stuff on Rocket Miata here. This car is unbelievably fast. It's like driving a full-size go-kart with way too much power. Luckily I get to test drive it when I get done with it. But we carried this down to an autocross down south, and it was like 100 degrees on black asphalt and just brutal, and we had a problem with it running. And at the time we thought it was the crank trigger. So we actually changed the crank trigger on this with the car half off the trailer so we could get up under it, laying on that hot asphalt. And the starter won't come out by the header. So it was just 2 fingers at a time. Me and Kevin, when we were swapping back and forth, just turning the screw with the 2 fingers till you just couldn't do it no more. Or actually the bolt. But the bolt that was in it was like 1 inch long. So I'm going to modify that bolt when I get to working on this thing. So to make that a little bit easier if you ever have to do it again, because I can't believe that we changed that the way we did out there on that at that autocross. But we were able to get it changed out, and anytime it was done, was covered in sweat. We was using tools that we could borrow, beg, and steal to try to fit in there. If I'd had a 10mm swivel like the one I have here at the shop, it would have been a lot easier. But yeah, it was extremely difficult down there. But we finally got it running, had a good time, and it ended up being just the computer where the plug is, where it was mounted in the glove box. After we couldn't get it to run right, we shut the glove box, and the thing ran flawless. So it ended up being something else other than that anyway. So, but after the fact, now it's accumulated, or it started a little oil leak on that side. So I feel pretty sure it has something to do with that crank trigger, because that's where the oil seems to be coming from. And then while I have it here, I'm going to raise it up, and I'm just going to go all over it, underneath it, and look at all the stuff under there and make sure everything's tight and in good shape. So let's get this thing up in the air, and we'll look up underneath it and see what I can find on it. Yeah, this thing's a beast. 5.7 with a blower on it, 6-speed transmission, and it will absolutely fly. So I can't wait to drive this thing. Do a quick walk around to show this car off a little bit. The Memphis Audio stereo system in it, the 6-speed transmission, the roll bar. I mean, it just is just an incredible car, super fast. The exhaust comes out the side right here because it just had nowhere else to go with it. The motor is so big it wouldn't fit under the hood, so we just cut all that out. That's a cut and shove to fit. I love doing that type stuff. But extremely cool little car. Let me raise this hood and show you the motor. Yeah, look what a motor it's got in here. It's got a blown 5.7 in it. And we've got the boost down pretty good on it. I don't remember what it was running, but it's not a whole lot of boost on it. So this thing really is very user-friendly. Runs and idles wonderful. No issues how it runs. It's just so dependable and feels so good to drive it. But the motor is definitely shoehorned in there. It is definitely a cut and shove event going on there. Kevin, underneath here, I did a little PMI, pre-maintenance inspection on everything, and I found a few little issues here and there that I'll show you here in a second. But I went ahead and dropped this down, the starter, which it doesn't drop down much. I mean, it barely moves out of the way of that crank trigger, and still pretty difficult here with the stand on, but a lot easier than laying in a 100-degree parking lot down south. So I got it pulled out, and the bolt in it was about 1 inch long, and then the bolt is so long, as your socket and the bolt comes out, it binds up against the solenoid on the starter. So when I took that bolt out, I trimmed it down and made it about a 1/2 inch bolt. So it's way easier to change. It's just holding a little tab that holds that sensor in. So that's going to be a lot easier than before. Don't know why it had such a long bolt in it. But I got it out and was looking at the sensor and trying to see where maybe that oil was coming from, and I couldn't find anything wrong with it. It was in there all the way, and everything seemed to be good, but I definitely had oil in that area. So I've taken and pre-cleaned all this off of here to try to get all the oil residue off as much as possible, to hopefully get rid of that smell. And then I was sitting looking at the sensor thinking, well, it needs to at least make some kind of a change. I hate to just take it off and put it right back on. So I studied it. I thought, well, I might be do the O-ring in it and see if I had a new one. And I rolled the O-ring off of it, and when I did, where this O-ring is made, you can see where it was actually fastened together. So when you roll it from the inside out, there's two cut marks in it where you can see where it was put together. Never seen that before. And that's the sealing lip on the inside for the sensor. So I'm thinking that that's probably going to be the problem, was this O-ring. So yeah, on the inside of it, there's a slot here and a slot there where this O-ring was put together. I had one that was exact like this one, and it's nice and solid inside there. And like I said, I've never seen that before. So I will start looking at my O-rings to see if you can see where they were fastened together, because the outer part of it seals to the body of the engine, to the bore of the hole, and the inner part is supposed to seal against the sensor itself. And I feel like with this blown engine and the pressure it have on the bottom end, this is probably going to be a problem. So I went ahead and washed all that out. I've got the new O-ring on it. I've got the bolt trim, got it in place, and I think that's going to work. I'm probably going to do a little heat shield products underneath here, a little bit here, a little bit here. This one was coming off. And then I found there's some wires right here for the backup light. It was laying on this exhaust. It had fallen down. So I'm going to clean this up, tape up these wires, and then secure the exhaust. The exhaust is a little bit loose where these tailpipes come out back here. And see if I can't come up with a way to secure that a little better where that exhaust goes out the back, because the engine rocks like this, and then with the tailpipes out the side, it's going to make them twist a little bit. So I'm going to see if I can't lock them down on the ends, because it's always going to be an issue unless you was to weld all this and it's all clamped on. So maybe I can just put something here to guide it at the end and then retighten it, and hopefully that will work. And I found a couple of bolts loose, so let me show you what I found in the back. Alright, Kevin, I was working on these bolts back here, and come to find out they're like a M12 by 1.25 in the back, and I think it's an M8 by 1.25 in the front, which is kind of a difficult bolt to find. School of Hard Knocks tells me not to go to town to Ace Hardware or Lowe's and Walker and do the normal go to town, look, and come back with nothing, and then try to make something work. So, but I did have a really nice M8 by 1.25, and it's long enough, it's zinc coated, it matches the other bolts, and I can put a lock washer on it and a flat washer and pull that up in there. I had the mindset of possibly doing a blue thread Loctite, but I noticed that these have rivet nuts up in the bottom of the car, and luckily I was able to do this with a lock washer, because I didn't want to put that blue Loctite up in there, because that rivet nut, as you tighten it down, it really grabs hard, but when it's released, that blue Loctite could spin it, and if it ever spun in there as you're removing it, that would be a mess. So this is what I'm going to put in here. It's a washer, lock washer, and a zinc coated M8 by 1.25. But on the other end, I'm missing one of these, which is the M12 by 1.25, and so I digging around at all my stuff. I did find four of them, and they're just a zinc coated, but this fits in there perfectly. And I've got some washers, and I was going to use lock washers on this, but with the lock washer and the bolt I have, it might be a little too short. I'm going to check it one more time to make sure. I may try to use this, but if not, I'm going to put just a little bit of blue Loctite on it, because these are actually welded in bungs in here that this bolts into, so I could easily put the blue Loctite on there, tighten this down, and torque it, and then be able to get those out of these four. And I'm going to do all four of these like that, and put these in there and tighten all this up. Alright, Kevin, I've got your bolts in, and these end up working perfect. I put the blue Loctite on them, and the bolt end up being exact length of that threaded insert right there. On all four of those are tight, and then these I was able to do the lock nut with the washer on it, and that worked out real nice. I've kind of went over a few of the bolts back in here. I found this one brake one up in here on each side was a little bit loose. Not sure what that's from, but I'll really tighten both sides of those down really nice and tight. Then up front here, I was working on I was tightening this clamp, and it had some heat shield product on it, and after removing it all, I see you had that on there because of this line, that clutch line right there. So I ended up taking some heat shield product. They've got a Velcro wrap one, that a sleeve that Velcros together, so I put it on it here, and then I put you a strap on that transmission mount right there. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, and now it's way away from it, and that's a good little repair right there, and I won't have to put that heat shield back on this. But over here where the heat shield product sleeve was on here, you can see those wires are good all the way to right there, but just as soon as it come out of that sleeve where it was in that other type insulation, it is all melted together. So I'm not sure if it's probably blown the fuse by now, and this weather pack plug here is pretty bad. I think I've got another weather pack plug. So, and this wire was kind of long to begin with, so I'm going to cut this off up here and then put some more heat shield product sleeve on that and a new weather pack plug on that, and then put that back up in there while it's up on the lift, and then we'll see if it's popped a fuse or not. So I don't see how it couldn't have. And then I've just been kind of securing up some wires and stuff like this wire that comes off the alternator. I put a strap on it here and a strap on it there. I'm fixing to put some heat shield products on this starter, and then see what I can do with this exhaust, and then this thing will be ready for a test drive. I had some of this Cobra wrap, exhaust wrap from Heat Shield Products, and this stuff is pretty thick and strong, and I used it on both sides of here just to fill the void on that muffler, or that pipe right there, so that it has a little bit of cushion so it doesn't rattle. And then I did the same on this side. This one was loose and it was rattling, so I just put it in there and filled that void, and it looks pretty cool, and it'll hold that heat. And then I also put a little bit right here, which was really close to that cross member, and now that's got that rock solid, and now you can hit on it and none of it is rattling. It's all pretty tight in there, but it's not rattling. So I'm going to take this thing for a test ride. I think I'm about done with it. So let's get this thing off the rack and go for a test run. Okay, I just got back to my first test drive in it, and everything seems to be working wonderfully. I've put it back up on the lift and checked for the oil leak, and that seems to be good. All the exhaust seems to still be good and tight. All the wiring I secured, I went back over everything, kind of looked underneath it, and it's just doing flawless. This thing is stupid fast. It's like kind of like a two-stroke dirt bike. When you take off and you're accelerating, when the blower starts building, it comes on so hard it just pins you against the seat every gear. So that being the case, and I want to monitor this oil leak, I'm just going to have to test drive this thing for a couple of weeks to make sure I got this oil leak fixed. So I'm just going to test drive it again. I'm going to run to town, fill it up with gas, and yeah, I think she's about ready.